All right, good morning, campers, and welcome back to the Cut the Camera podcast. I am Nick.
I am Matt.
It's Chris here again.
And we are all together, the Sturniolo Triplets, and this is our podcast, Cut the Camera. Today, we are going to be talking about how we got to the exact position that we are in today, how we got to where we are currently, and our journey, past, present, and future, that led to the very moment we're sitting here.
Well, past and present that led to the moment. Past that led to the present. Then we're going to talk about the present, and then we're going to talk about our plans in the future.
So what a wonderful podcast episode. Basically just who are these kids who have a podcast? Why are they talking? This is going to explain to you, catch you up right away to...
And how we got to, our level of popularity and all
whatnot,
that jazz.
everything that comes along with it. That's what we're talking about today. And I'm super excited about that. So first thing we're going to talk about, content as kids. A lot of you guys know we're content creators, obviously. But we literally, one of the questions I feel like we get asked all the time is like, oh, when did you guys start content? Like, what was your drive to randomly start doing YouTube? And it was kind of just our content never really had a start. It was we were documenting our life from the moment it started, and we could. We had slide phones, and we never really had social media, so we weren't really aware of creating social media. But when we would go to our cousin's house, they had video games and they had YouTube videos, and we were just so in awe of all the technology they had in their house. So our cousins kind of taught us about making videos, which led to us literally documenting everything. I remember filming music videos at home.
There's so much cringy content
so
for young children. That's
far too much. A lot of it I'm happy is private and not public because it was scary little things, and for some reason we used to film at 8 years old in our underwear, running around the house. But Matt's vines are pretty wonderful.
Can you not don't even give it the light that it doesn't deserve,
the spotlight on it?
Yeah. But Nick's YouTube channel is a big primary focus.
Yeah, we had a YouTube. I had a YouTube channel. We made YouTube videos on. Yeah, we did a Dark Horse by Katy Perry music video. That was pretty lit. But that was pretty lit. It was awesome, bro.
I hate that
Chris
so
was
much.
Juicy J.
Was I really?
I think so. We were oh, you can't be in it the whole time because you got to be the feature.
I ate it probably.
Which honestly was so lucky on your part because you're in that video the least. Which is I regret it because I was the star.
Corny.
But I think we have to.
Yeah, it was on the movie star
When
thing.
I think about it now, obviously it's corny, but I didn't. This is gonna sound so funny, but I didn't even realize how corny little kids are sometimes.
Literally, little kids can be everything you do.
Yeah,
as a
little
kid.
when I did shit as a little kid, I didn't think oh my god, let's do this fashion show, or look at me roll this ball, or just something like that. When I was a little kid, I used to get so excited doing cartwheels that weren't full.
Here's the thing. I think that
little kids, myself on the
little
ground,
kids haven't seen a lot, so they think everything
is so cute, honestly.
They think everything's amazing and cool.
Yeah.
And another thing is when you're a kid, you're not worried about judging and
That's so
judgmental
true.
people. And
Yeah.
stuff. You're just gonna do whatever the fuck you want. I think if everyone acted like a little kid, at heart, the world
Life
would be a
would be
much
beautiful. Well, it's people's
better
confidence level would be through the roof. Because it's
I
when you're a
agree.
kid, you think that
everything
the
you do
dinosaur
is amazing.
shorts you have are the coolest fucking
Of
thing
course
ever.
they are.
And they
so
are.
it's everyone else around you, and you're oh, these
I
are my
agree.
dinosaur shorts. So yeah, it's
So
kind
we're-
of tough,
that
honestly. I'd
age-
love to have a little kid's confidence.
Yeah.
So we made content when we found out we didn't get our first smartphone until 7th grade, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even 7th grade.
No, in 7th grade
I
we
think
got
it was.
our-
I think it was halfway through 7th grade because we were
yeah, the summer from 6th
I'm pretty
grade
sure it
to
was
7th
8th grade.
No, it was the summer from 6th grade to 7th grade we got smartphones.
I remember
6th to
having
7th or 6th grade is when we got the slide phones with the keyboards built in.
loved them.
And then
I want one.
I think Mom got us phones, smartphones for starting middle school. So 7th, 8th grade.
No, bro. Well, I remember going to 7th grade with a slide phone.
Really?
Yes. I
Okay,
vividly
then I
remember.
think
wrong.
But no, but I had an iPod as well.
Oh, that's true.
No, I used to bring my iPod to school because I love taking photos, and we had Samsung phones with terrible camera quality, and I remember hating the camera quality on it, so I'd bring an iPhone to school and take photos on it, and then when
iPod.
I'd go home, I'd post all my photos from the
Yeah.
school day, my private story.
Yeah.
So I think he was just
Sorry, I totally wasn't paying attention.
So we just had we didn't get smartphones till 7th, 8th grade, but we somehow filmed corny content as kids on our iPods and stuff like that growing up. But once we got legit technology, and then
No, it was once we understood what technology was and we had phones, we would be able, saying we didn't have smartphones till 7th grade, yes, it's the truth, but we had iPods, so we were
and
still
like
like
computers.
we
so
were
like
still
I was
like
always
socially
watching.
aware. Like I was on Instagram on my like iPod all the
Yeah,
time.
but I also
so-
remember watching like YouTube videos on like computers and
Yeah,
like,
a
and, like
lot.
Vines. Like I think we started consuming content far
I think
too
Vine
soon.
was like the first
yeah, in like
thing I remember
7th grade,
watching.
8th grade, and then like high school, obviously. But ever since I was watching content creation and shit, I always wanted to be like a
Yeah,
YouTuber
like
and
I
shit.
I think it was getting to high school and realizing that it was like a job for some people. Like,
Yeah.
it was like legit.
Yeah.
Like I remember me, Matt, and Chris were major Logan and Jake Paul fans when they were like
Oh, yeah,
in their
big time.
prime of like
Huge.
it was every day, bro, and I was there for every single
Yeah.
day. You know,
Yeah.
like I watched I think every single Jake Paul video, but
and Dylan twins.
the Dolan
Yep.
twins were major. But it was like seeing people do this for a living. Me, Matt, and Chris always were like, oh, we want to do that, but it was on the back burner like our kind of entire childhood. Like we were doing
Yeah.
it for fun, and we like just
And then
didn't.
gaming YouTubers was a whole nother realm. Like I watched Allier.
Oh my
like,
god,
for years.
I love
Yes.
Allier. I love the Pokemon videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways,
Mystic 7's Pokemon Go videos are undefeated.
basically it was that, and then me, Matt, and Chris were at the age where like we were in high school, like 7th and 8th grade, and even though we were seeing people do social media for jobs, we were like, yeah, that's awesome for them, but like it was on the back burner of like none of us were really primarily focused on like, oh, we want to be social media creators.
Yeah, I
it was just
agree.
something we did for leisure. So, but at that time when you're in high school and you hang out with your friends after school, you want money to like buy a burrito if everyone goes to the fucking local taqueria. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there were so many occasions where like we want to bring money, and we hated asking
Yeah.
our parents to like supply us for money for the week.
So we got jobs. We did have money.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
what I was like literally like an inch away from saying when you just interrupted
you
me.
stopped. I didn't interrupt you. You were at a complete stop.
No,
And
yeah,
it's
you did-
literally
you did
on
come to-
camera, so we can watch
No,
the
you did
replay.
come to a
Regardless,
complete
that-
stop. but
regardless,
if
that's
you
what I
get-
was getting
He
at.
was getting there if you gave him like
I think
30 more
seconds.
I
Yeah.
consider it more of an alley-oop rather than an interruption.
Awesome.
I
Go
agree.
ahead. Yeah.
okay. So
Thank you.
we I thought you were pointing at me to keep going on your
I
thoughts, so you can go.
Keep going. Go ahead.
Okay, so we started to get real jobs, even though we went and got stop beatboxing.
Okay.
Thanks. We went and got real jobs all at the supermarket. Nick got his in a year before me and Chris because me and Chris.
year?
No, it was like 6 months.
I remember being
For
there
me,
for
it
like.
was a year, I think.
No, wrong. It
I
was
remember being at
no,
the
it was-
store for
it
like
was, it was
7
actually
months.
like
Hold on.
4 months. It was like
Relax.
4 or 5 months.
I remember all I wanted you to do was test the waters and see how it was,
Yeah, so
and then I was
basically it
gonna
was
go.
me, Matt, and Chris, and one of our best friends back home was we were like all like, oh, we need to get jobs, right? So we were like, okay, what can we do? And me, Matt, and Chris live super close to a grocery store, but our friend, we were like, we were gonna get a job at this grocery store. They were like, well, my family already works at this other grocery store, so let's all go like see and try and apply. So I went first, and then hit it off really well with like everyone who worked there. And I know it's just a grocery store, so like they hire really anybody who
But it
has
felt like home.
functional hands. But I was like, you know what? I'm so down for this. So I remember like I was still chubby. I had a side part. I had my black hoop earrings. Like I was very like
Edgy.
no. It was like I remember still like when
You
I
were
when I
having an
think of that
identity
version of
crisis.
myself, I think of like holy shit, that's a child. And then I think like I
Yeah.
see photos of me in like a Star Market uniform, and I'm like, wow, they are brave people there because I would not have hired me. But
Mhm.
regardless, I was a great worker. And then so I was working there for like 5 months, and then Matt, Chris, and our friend were like, okay, it's our turn. And then so when they came along and they applied, obviously they were like kind of gonna get the job, and then I got to train every single one of them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then we were all working at the grocery store for a while, which working as a triplet in like the fucking is it retail? Is it a retail
Yes,
job?
retail.
No, retail's closed, right?
No, it's like it's customer service.
Well,
I-
working a job
Grocery
like
store,
that
something.
as
I
like
think
triplets
it's
was
retail.
one of like the funniest memories I'll have forever.
We're not going to dig too much into this because I think we could talk about funny work experiences and all that stuff on a full separate pod for like an entire segment of just the work life before. But basically, we got that job together. We all kind of had our experiences with it. It's pros and cons of working there. And
What are
What are you
getting
saying,
at, bro?
Yeah.
It was awesome. We had fun. We worked together. Then after that, COVID actually before that, we were living at
where I
our.
was getting.
Okay, I don't care.
Well, no, I. What's like the funniest thing? Hold on, really quick. Like, what's the funniest thing that happened to you like while working at a grocery store?
Okay, I guess we are talking about
I think
Like,
yeah,
at
I feel
least
like we
one
might as
thing
well.
you-
Fuck
Okay.
it, we might as well. I remember being at the grocery store when I was first training, so it was like my first like week and a half there.
Mm.
And then when you train at a grocery store, they put you on like the fucking 12 item checkout, so that
Yeah.
way you're not facing
Overwhelmed.
a lot of items. So I was at the like 12 items or fewer line, and this dude came up and he put like his like Mountain Dew or something on the conveyor belt, and I was tired, so I was like scratching my eyes like this, and then I leaned back, I'm like yawning, arms up, eyes shut. And then I opened my eyes and the dude was just there, and it scared the fuck out of me that I actually like flinched and ducked down like underneath my
One time I
counter, and it was
fully-
just like a customer.
One time I passed out
Oh, that's cool.
at work. Like I remember I was scanning groceries for so long and they wouldn't let me sit down. I don't understand. Okay, this is something that I could go on a tangent for forever, but so I'm gonna like really cut it short. But I don't understand why we are paying people like minimum wage jobs, like working at a grocery store for checkout, and not even giving them the human decency of being able to sit down while
Fully
they're doing
agreed.
it. Like these people are making minimum wage and they're standing there scanning your groceries for 8 hours a day. And I don't think it's that important to me. Like I've never gone to a grocery store and been like, if the person behind the register was sitting down, my experience at this grocery
I
store would be
agree.
less valuable.
I agree.
I agree.
Because I remember saying that to our manager, and they were like, "Well, it just like isn't professional." It's like I think that it's so much easier and healthier to get your job done. Like I
I
remember my
agree.
knees feeling like they were locking at the end of every shift, and it's like it's so repetitive that I was genuinely like, getting dizzy, and I
Yeah.
like legit passed out one day and like had to go up and like I thought
I
that
remember
would
you were like getting a granola bar because you were
yeah,
like
I thought that
lightheaded.
would be the turning point of like they'd have like the decency to be like, okay, like it makes sense for people to sit, but no, it did not.
But it's
My-
also not up to them. It's up to like the corporate
But
business.
that's
and-
just that's like an overall opinion I have that
At the end of the
is
day,
so
groceries
stupid.
are gonna
and
get
you're
bought,
awesome.
you know?
Matt, go ahead.
One of the funny experiences for me was not really funny, but I remember like
Let's talk into the mic.
no, I am. I
Yeah.
remember working.
No, I am.
I remember
Back and
working
forth.
the morning shift for like the first time ever. So that was opening at 7 a.m. And when it's morning, since there's not that many people, it's just like a few customers until like you don't have another person on the register until like 2 hours into your shift. So like you are the only register for 2 hours. And I genuinely remember having to pee so bad, but there being no other like cashier and having to like somehow get someone who wasn't supposed to be a cashier to sub in for like 10 minutes just so I could go pee
10 minutes to
or
pee.
whatever. Fucking
Holy
walk
shit.
to the bathroom.
Okay, well, like let's get there, please. Like
Who
I'm not trying
cares?
to be here for an eternity
Genuinely
talking
almost
about this
pissing
shit.
myself because I couldn't find somebody to take my spot for
That's
3
the
minutes.
I thought that's the
to-
weakest story ever from like Star Market.
Okay, well I have
Dude,
more,
I think
but
the
if we're gonna
best
talk
thing
about
ever.
like all
no,
of
no.
them,
Last
I
thing
could.
before we move on from the Star Market grocery stores experiences is like I think the best thing ever.
We probably
was
shouldn't.
once I got
name
Doesn't
the
matter.
store.
Star Market. It's
Doesn't
a
matter.
global.
It's
Go
not
ahead.
global. It's East Coast, but it doesn't matter.
It's an Eastern coastal
Nick,
just go
go.
sensation grocery store. Anyways, I remember like my favorite thing ever was the intercom, and once I got like the
Upgraded.
intercom, once I got upgraded to a service desk, my favorite thing was just like being able to like put people in their place when they're like freaking out about like trying to return something. But the craziest thing to me, and I have to say,
Good
okay,
God.
two
Did
thoughts,
Nick just hit the table?
two
by
thoughts,
the way?
and then we'll absolutely move on because we're talking about it for too long. But one thing that I find crazy is if you genuinely try and return anything to a grocery store, like our grocery store had like the policy of like, don't ask any questions and return it if
Yeah.
they're asking. Like it was like a no
You can also
questions
just steal.
asked policy. So
That's pretty crazy.
yeah, that is crazy.
Like,
They also
you literally can't do anything.
They
about
don't.
it.
You can walk out. I'm not allowed to do anything.
no,
You can
if you're
go-
stealing under like $400 values of things, it's
We're-
genuinely like it's
you're not allowed
considered
to.
like even if you see
Disrespectful.
someone literally
Bro,
take
what?
shit off the shelf and steal it, it's like if you are somehow wrong, it can turn into a whole thing. So in order to avoid that from happening for the company, they just tell you like if someone's
Let's be
stealing,
real though. If I
don't-
could do something about it, I ain't seen nothing.
bro. Like
well, it's just like
what's
you're
the-
regardless. We're
like-
like getting off topic, but also
that's you can steal if you want.
But another thing is what I was saying is there's like a no questions asked policy at the store we're at with like refunds. So I remember standing there and this guy came in with a case of Coke. I'm doing air quotes for those of you just listening and not watching, but he had a case of Coke and it was taped up with like clear tape in the middle, so it had already been opened. And I looked through like there was like a hole in the front and a hole in the back and like the slit on the top to like carry it. And there was like a Sprite, a Fanta, a Diet Coke. Like it was a case of Coke filled with other sodas, and I was just like in awe.
Variety
Like
pack. Custom variety.
the custom
yeah, and
one
he was
of one.
returning it, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay. And then my other favorite thing was being able to use the intercom because I
Cool.
used to always
Awesome.
like,
Next one.
know.
So while we were working at the grocery store that time era of high school, our house caught on fire during
burn.
the
Oh
during
God.
during our school experience and whatnot. So it was actually into the summer into sophomore year.
I think so.
It was 2019.
2019.
Yeah, 2019.
We burned.
No, into junior year. Summer going into junior year.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't think
I'm fully
ever.
correct.
Yeah, I think you are as well.
With going into junior
I'm not
year.
denying that
No,
you're
yeah,
correct.
no,
I'm just
he's
thinking
correct.
about it
He's
a little
correct.
longer.
He's correct. And then so then we moved like into like a way smaller apartment, and we had a house and it was just a beautiful home. We loved our bedrooms. It was nice and large, and we would all have like time and space alone somewhat. Like it was a great house. And then when we moved to this apartment, our older brother had a room, my mom and dad had their room. Nick had like an office, and me and Matt shared like the living room. So it
Yeah.
was such a smaller environment that we weren't used to
Jam-packed.
at all. We were like on top of each other. So it got like super like crowded in this apartment, and like the family issues would increase because everyone was like on top of each other, and like I feel like that was like the most us three head-butted. And we talk about it
Ever.
a lot, like, because Nick was also closeted. He came out to us at that house. So there was also like the internal anger from Nick of like,
Yeah.
that's also the whole like gay story.
The gay story.
Go ahead.
No, but basically it was like all of us were like, it was really weird because it was like we were going from having such like a house that we were blessed to like be living in that was like big enough for all of us to kind of like I think like where you live and like your home is such like an important part of like who
Growing
you are as a
up,
person.
yes.
Like even if you just have like a little bit of a space that you have, like and
It's
where you're
yours.
from is genuinely like what your home life is like changes your life completely. So when your house catches on fire and you completely have a new home and like adapting, that's why I'm pretty sure like scientifically 3 of like the most stressful things on earth is like or like the most
One of the 3 is
depressive things.
moving.
One of the 3 is moving, the other one's like a breakup, and then the other one's like the loss of a family member. Those are like top 3 things that are like whatever. So it's like
Damn.
moving was like insane where all of us were kind of just like
Because you're breaking consistency.
Yeah.
With all that.
So it was like it was really, really difficult for all of us to be getting along overall, but it really did like as much as we're gonna talk shit like about it in like the next few minutes of the podcast, like this segment of the apartment life because it wasn't the best, it genuinely shaped us into like the
I
people
agree.
that we are today.
Because if you when same time period we got that house fire moving into this smaller apartment, and then it's like COVID hit at the same time, like a little bit after
Yeah, so
too.
after COVID
It was like right when we.
2021,
It was like
right?
right when we got
No, 2020.
comfortable.
COVID
Yeah, it
was
was- yeah, it was, like,
2020.
whenever the whole like fuck
2020.
2020 thing, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it was like summer of 19 we moved, and then right when we were getting comfortable, COVID struck the winter of
yeah, because it was August and then
2020.
the next March. So it was January, February, March, April, May.
whatever. It was as soon as we got comfortable in an apartment, the COVID hit, and then like
Yeah, it was
so
6
then we
months
were all
later.
trapped
I
in
remember
that
the
small
COVID
apartment
hit.
as well.
COVID hit the second or like right around when we were about to finish getting permits to like do the construction on our house that caught on fire.
Oh my
'Cause-
god,
'cause
that's
then-
so
Because
right.
then it delayed.
You're awesome.
It delayed the permits for our other house because there was only one construction worker allowed to work on sites at a
Yes.
time, and then like
Yes.
this
So
whole
then
thing.
we
So
were
it's like
in
when
that
you're
house
doing
for so long.
construction, like the city you live in, you need like a permit to be like, oh,
Well,
we're doing
everywhere.
this massive. Yeah, that's
so,
what I meant.
So the permit that we couldn't get the permit to fix our other house, and we're stuck at the apartment with COVID, and nobody can leave their homes. So it's all 6 of our family members in this one house all the time, 24/7, can't leave.
Yeah, and also another thing that was really, really crazy is kind of like it was like we were kind of being like, it wasn't like lied to by like the construction people because they didn't really know better. But like when our house first caught on fire, the day of, they were like, oh, you'll be back in like 4 months. We're gonna like
No,
build
they
it
said,
out and like
2
be back.
weeks.
They said 2 weeks. Then they changed it to 4 months, and then after the 4 months, they were like, okay, we need like 3 more months because we haven't had the permits got yet. And then it went from they got the permits, then COVID hit, and then it ended up taking like
2
a year
years.
and a half to 2 years for us to get our house back after the house fire. And they had kept telling us like, oh, next month. So for the entire 2 years, we were expecting the next month to be the month
Yeah.
that we were
So
moving
then
back.
like just us being all over each other in that apartment, and then Matt learning how to drive. We were like, let's just get out of the house. So then we started driving around, like just having these late night conversations about life. It was the most like emotional year for all of us, probably,
Yeah.
and everyone on the earth. Like everyone was suffering so much of the pandemic. People hated being outside, so we would just drive around and have late night conversations. And then, like further on along the road, we were like, we might as well just like record one of these. And just
Like,
fucking
start-
put it, like, let's like actually start making
I feel
content.
like it's like we're already going out on these late night drives anyway, and we're talking about topics that are making us laugh or making us cry, like feel all the emotions, all that type of stuff.
So it's like everything that people love to see in content creators, we're already doing in our car. It's like, let's record this. We want to do YouTube as our job anyway. Like, let's do it.
And then
I feel like being like with COVID and all that stuff and not having to go to school, it really like dulled the pressure of like the people at school like bullying us for trying to be content creators and stuff like that.
Backtracking a little bit is when our house fire was in August, and then I ended up coming out to Matt and Chris in October. So it was really, really a crazy, like the house fire kind of put it in perspective to me, like internally, like, oh, nothing is really gonna last as long, or like everything's like
Temporary.
yeah, everything's temporary. Anything can change all at once. So I was like, if I'm gonna like live, I need to be able to like live truthfully. You know what I mean? So having our house fire kind of struck to me that it was like, okay, like you gotta like start acting on this. And I had already come out to some friends already, so I was like kind of had the ball rolling. And then by the time October hit, it was like, I think me coming out to Matt and Chris and then our house fire were two things that bonded us the way that me, Matt, and Chris are today. Like our relationship would not be as strong as it is now without me coming out with our house fire.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we didn't get along until we could fully understand each other. And I think that like most of Matt's anxiety as well, that we didn't even really talk about, is like Matt's anxiety kind of started to be at its like ending. Not ending because it doesn't really ever end. That's something that everyone lives with. But
it was
Matt's
more,
anxiety
I was
got
just
so
getting
much better.
used to it. And I feel like the shit that kind of fucked me up was like the COVID lockdown and all that shit. That's what I was doing for the entire my half of my entire childhood was staying in my house on lockdown.
Yeah.
Of like my own free will, not because of like any global pandemic that was going on. But then the second I didn't want to do that for my own free will, it was an actual global pandemic. So then I'm staying home for like 8 years.
That like so basically like Matt's anxiety getting better because he was able to drive, and then me coming out and feeling 100% myself, and then our house fire, those were like kind of like the ingredients that we needed to like build our relationship. So now we're at a point where like
It was
we're
the
in like
ingredients to relationship soup.
so
Okay.
now we're at a point where we're in like early November, and like our life is completely spun upside down, right? And then so March came, and that was when COVID happened. So me, Matt, and Chris were at a point where like we were 100% with each other. Like we were best friends. We were like getting along.
We loved the
nonstop.
content creation. We loved it all.
Well, no, I feel like we're not at content creation yet. Like we got along so well, and then when COVID hit, that's when we were like, we're gonna use like what has become of our relationship and how much closer we are to each other to now move into like doing content together.
Yeah, I agree.
Because now,
But I also feel like TikToks, like Nick and me were posting TikToks like for a while all this was going down, and they were actually like going crazy
a little bit.
Like mine and Nick,
no,
I remember
yours were.
I remember
fucking orange
I
hoodie
always
kid.
wanted to get like at least 10K likes on a TikTok.
Yeah.
Like that felt crazy to me. And then I kept doing it, and I was like 10,000 people. Like that's actually a fucking lot.
insane.
And I'm like every TikTok I would post would get like 10K likes, 10K likes, 10K likes, 10K likes, and I was like, wow, I need to keep doing this. I got to the point where I was at like 200K on
Started coaching me.
TikTok. I would tell Matt to get on there. Nick was already posting on it.
And then I feel like obviously Chris's goal was not to be a TikToker, it was to be a YouTuber. So
Yeah.
it was like, we're making these YouTube videos that we actually enjoy. Let's get the people that are enjoying looking at Chris on TikTok to actually find us for more than just like a look, and dig deeper with me and Nick and find.
But then we
like,
did also
humor.
realize that like the fans that Chris had at the time, like when Chris was the only one blowing up, when he would include me and Matt in his TikToks, people would be like so mind blown that he was a triplet that they'd be like, oh my god. So like the videos where Chris was talking about being a triplet would do way better on his.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where we're like, oh, like if we all make a TikTok account together, that's something that like we've wanted our whole life.
I feel like our group socials came so late to shit.
They did.
I agree.
Like I it's so weird. Like we made our group TikTok like when I was already at like 1 million followers, I think, on TikTok.
Well, our
before
first
we
car
made
video,
Well, we didn't make the group accounts until we got back to
the
our
other
house.
Yeah, like I think like at that apartment we
oh wow.
like like we were posting our own individual TikToks all blowing up. I got to like 500,000 followers. Nick
our YouTube was
like,
doing well.
Our YouTube was doing good because
Our
like
YouTube was Nick's YouTube though for the first car video.
for the first like vlog or two.
No, our YouTube was my YouTube for like 3 videos.
Yeah, and then once we went out that night and we filmed the very first car video, and we all knew, like, wow, this shit is gonna fucking be great. Like,
Yeah.
we knew that we were gonna be YouTubers at that point. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, like it was like an internal thing. Like we didn't see any numbers, right? There was no proof like, oh, this car videos, like what car videos are. We never thought like, oh, these car videos are gonna be something that we do forever. It was like
Yeah.
we just had happened to have vlogged and film a video, and that felt good. Like, oh, we can be content creators like 100%. And then after uploading consistently and realizing that people were like loving car videos, it was like okay, this is like the thing that we're gonna do.
Yeah, because like we would do the vlogs that had nothing to do with the car stuff at all, and we were like, wow, compared to the car videos, these numbers are terrible. So it's like,
Yeah.
let's if people are enjoying.
It wasn't that they were like the numbers were terrible. It was just the car videos were surpassing everything. Like we would post, like I always was mind blown at the fact that like usually like I don't know, like I was just mind blown that YouTube, which is like one of the hardest platforms to grow on, was the one where we were having the most numbers. Like
Yeah.
we'd post TikToks and then the YouTube videos would be doing better. So it was
Yeah.
like kind
And
of
it was
mind
also
blowing.
like how dialed in our fans were. Like, it's hard to start a fan base. Like, starting it's the hardest part.
Absolutely.
But I remember being at like 50K subscribers and then pulling like 50K views. And I
they were
used,
ride or
and I was like,
dies.
holy shit! Like, these people are fucking locked into what we're posting, and they actually genuinely care.
I remember checking our analytics like way back when, and like the amount of viewers to like non-subscribers was insane. Like there was like it was like at a point where like 60% of our viewers weren't subscribed to our YouTube channel. And it's like, imagine if all the people watching these videos ended up subscribing, and then they kind of did.
Yeah.
You know?
It was crazy. And then, like, I feel like with going back to school, like high school, like we only went back for like a couple months of senior year. Like, I think it was 3. So then, like, we went back to senior year, and like everyone had already kind of knew that we were like YouTubers now. And I think we went back to school like, what, 25K?
Yeah.
No,
like-
we graduated high school with 25K. So
And
I
also
think
remember
we
getting-
grew 5K in that month. So
Yeah.
we're going back to high school with 20K subscribers on YouTube, which is like everyone thinks that's like the coolest. Well, it was the coolest fucking shit going on.
And I
So-
also remember because of my TikTok following, because I had like 500,000, everyone would literally like act like I was like famous. It was so annoying. I low-key like hated it. But I remember I also got
Yeah.
like most likely to be famous like in our yearbook. Like
Yeah.
literally, like it was
But
annoying.
what's
but it was
really
fun.
really just
It was
crazy is
hilarious.
I
It was
think that
hilarious.
I think that COVID and like not being at school gave us the confidence we needed to start content creation.
I
Then
agree.
content creation did well, and then we went back to school, and then it was like the summer came around after senior year, and we were like, we are 100% dialed in. We would have arguments with people who would like, people would come up to us and be like, how are you guys like gonna do YouTube? Like, you're not going to college or anything. And we're like, I always am so shocked at the amount of confidence we had at such low numbers,
And then
because it was like,
we like shared YouTube ad revenue and quit our Star Market jobs when COVID got bad. And then we would share we would share like $20 a month between the 3 of us.
Yeah.
it was like
And
it's
eat-
$20 each. Like,
Yeah, and then like
for a
eat it.
month.
if you help us by basically supplying for us as if we're little children who
Like
don't
if
have
you like
jobs,
buy our clothes, like if you buy our clothes, make our dinner, and make my bed for like
the next year,
a
you
year.
will not regret it.
yeah, literally.
Basically.
And we like negotiated it with our mom. We were like, all we need is a year of like just pure support and like
Financial stability a
and,
little bit.
Yes,
Mhm.
and like dinner, and that's literally
don't know
all we
how-
ask for.
God bless her soul. I don't know how she let it happen.
Yeah,
to be
and then
honest.
shout out to mom because she was like, you guys like just grind.
She
we
bought
did.
she bought Chris's first PC and like was
Yeah,
like,
she got my first PC that we streamed on. She helped out a lot, and then we were just like, we knew we also wanted it so bad, but we also knew we owed it to our parents to like run
Yeah.
this shit up and do it.
Absolutely.
So then like
But we
it was
wanted,
just
like,
also
yeah.
that motivation, and then like we were grinding. We started like showing our mom and dad like, look, there's like actual money to be made. Then that's around when like Laura reached out to us.
I'm pretty
Maddie.
sure
Laura reached out to us before we graduated high school.
Yeah,
Yes,
but, and
because
then she
the
reached
first time
out.
we went to LA was July, and we graduated in June, I think. Because
It was
our prom was after the first time we went to LA already. I think.
But our prom was delayed.
It? I think.
No, it was, but our prom wasn't during the school year. It was delayed because of COVID.
Yes.
Prom was after graduation because
we
of
graduated, and then Maddie found us on her For You page. The whole story of like how we met Laura and Maddie, which we'll tell when they're on the podcast. But we met them and then flew out to LA for a week with our mom, met Laura, got along super well, and then just like started doing brand deals, making like dollars here, dollars there, like cheap brand deals, like $50 for like an Instagram post to start, like stuff like that. But yeah, then we met Laura and Maddie. It was fucking awesome. And then Laura's like also the GOAT at showing us how to like become YouTubers and like build a brand, not just be like the one-off YouTubers, like build who you want to be, what you want to promote, and just really do it.
Because it's kind of like what we all learned and what we realized is like you can like we are YouTubers and we had like a following, like such a mass amount of people supporting us, and like all the people that followed us, we were like, they like us so much that like we could genuinely do anything and they'll be there to support it. So it was kind of just realizing that like if we want to use like the following that we have and the people that support us to do anything with it, these people are going to continue to support us because of like the connection we've built through YouTube, that like if any of us want to try something new, they're going to be ride or die fans for that as well, because they appreciate us and we appreciate them, which is crazy.
And it was just awesome. Like the fans were fucking like super dialed in. We started posting. They loved it. We just kept going. Then we structured the format of like posting a Friday video or a car video every Friday, posting a vlogger challenge every Wednesday.
Yeah.
We started locking in on that.
I think that was like the turning point, is realizing like, oh, car videos are doing better. We need to
I think that was like one of the
focus on
greatest
them.
ideas
So
ever.
we,
I agree.
We used to post every Friday and that was it. And then we were like, okay, every Friday, awesome. But the vlogs they were posting, the challenges we were posting weren't doing as well as when we were posting car videos.
Yeah.
So then we started posting car videos, obviously, and they were doing way better. So we were like, only posted car videos, I think, for like 3 videos. And we were like, okay, but we want to vlog and we want to do challenges. Like that's kind of like what we've always wanted to do as well as the car videos. So then we went and we were like, you know what, let's add another day of the week. So we added in Wednesdays. And then so we posted every Wednesday and every Friday. And every Friday since we made that decision has been a car video. And every Wednesday has been either a challenge, a vlog, whatever.
I feel like it's also like car videos do better than Wednesday videos, but if we just did the Friday car videos and didn't add anything like in the middle to show like who we are, our personality other than that, then it's just like it would have been
I don't think
way
people
too
would,
repetitive.
if we didn't post anything other than car videos, I don't think people would really know our personalities as
I
well
agree.
as they do.
And I think it like made it so that there was a good of like, yes, car videos are good. That's what we want to do. And it's very fun to film those. But then Wednesday videos is more of like, not only just car videos, but also a more content that's still funny, but with a little bit more reality to it than just like staying in the car all the time.
Because as much as I love filming car videos, they're kind of just like a moment in time, you know?
Yeah.
I like being on the move and filming
like
shit.
what else? Like when we got to LA, like after we started coming here, like like every other month.
It was like once. Well, no, it was more of like realizing that like it wasn't like a. I think people get like this misconstrued perception of like people move to LA because they want to like go party and make friends with all the famous people. When it's like in reality, I think the first thing that we learned about was like merch, and then obviously like. We were like, oh, like our merch team's here and we want to make merch and we want to be able to like sell merch. And then Chris is doing his clothing brand. And it was like realizing that like all of the projects we wanted to start and all the things that we continue to want to do and all like the goals that we have for ourselves are more achievable here. So we were like, we're not getting rid of Boston. Like Boston's a staple in our...
do it.
Boston's a staple in our heart. We have so many friends there. We have our parents there. We have our older brother there. And it's like, we're not ready. We weren't. And we still aren't ready to give up on that. So we used to come here for like a month at a time and go there for a month at a time.
I love Boston so much more than LA sometimes. And like I'll literally be sitting in my room just be like, I need to just fly home.
That wire just fell from being taped to the ceiling.
That's okay. But I genuinely just like, I have moments where it's like, I will say California's fun. I do enjoy like getting work done, being here, living here. Being with you guys, because genuinely I could live in Alaska with you guys and we'd figure everything out.
I agree.
Agreed.
But there is some times where it's like, damn, I want to be in like my childhood bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything in life is like a balance, and like especially as you grow up, like when you're 19 years old, you don't like. I love mom and dad, all due respect, but you don't want to be with your parents every day as like
I
a
agree.
19-year-old
Yeah,
kid.
I agree.
Well, it's
But
just
then I
unrealistic.
love my mom and dad. I wish like I could be with them. Like our parents are fucking cool as fuck. I love my mom and dad, and I could spend every day with them and enjoy it. Like I love both of our parents, but it's like sometimes you want to break from back home and the parents. But then it's also like sometimes there's too much work going on here, and then there's too much problems in LA, and you want to just go home for a week.
Yeah.
Like it's just a balance of
genuinely,
both.
it is a balance, and it really does depend on like mood and feeling and stuff like that. But I genuinely don't see a world where it's like I stay in Boston for the rest of my life, and I don't see a world where I stay in California for the
I
rest of my
agree.
life.
I agree.
Like I see myself bouncing back and forth and getting like when I'm here I miss Boston. When I'm in Boston I miss here.
And that's the thing is like I think that with this is gonna be a whole other podcast we could talk about forever. Is like Boston, LA, and like our life and just like that as a thing, because that's like a massive change.
Yeah.
Like living in two places is kind of like the most difficult thing I think that we do.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
agree.
like it is crazy. So that's gonna end up being like a whole thing in and of itself. But what I think is crazy is like we have access to both, and it's so crazy because I genuinely feel like both places are my home.
I agree. I said when I'm here I said can't wait to go home, and I'm talking about Boston. When I'm in Boston I'm saying I can't wait to
Well,
go
it's like
home.
we
and
have
I'm here, and
we
I'm
have
talking about
best
here.
friends in both places.
I
We
think it's
have,
like for me, I feel like all it is we love places both equally, but content ideas, business, all that stuff just comes easier here. And it's like, what do we do every day? What's our job? We post content, we make money through like merch. Like this is a business as well. So it's like all of our money, all of our business, all of our meetings, all of our content ideas, all of my creativity comes from LA. Like,
and
for
that's
me, that's another thing. Like, I'm huge on like travel for creativity. Like,
absolutely,
especially as like a creative guy.
absolutely.
Like one of my biggest goals in life is to be as the most creative person I possibly can and come up with as many ideas as I can.
agree.
I love creation. I love creating like music, creating art designs, creating like anyone creating anything. I give my props to no matter what, and being confident enough to do it. Like, because I feel like creating and just creation is like the number one way to express yourself besides words, because like it's just a beautiful thing. So like even when I'm in LA and I see palm trees to this day, I get excited. As
Yeah.
like
Oh
a
my
Boston
God.
kid.
I'm
like,
so happy
I'll
you said
walk
that.
outside our fucking house and and like walk a little and see a palm tree, and I'm like
Yeah.
it genuinely like brings me joy to see like a palm
And
tree.
then I see a fucking great pine, and I'm like, oh wow,
Like,
that
dude,
pine
a
tree is
pine
fucking
is-
awesome. It's great. So we found a balance of Boston and LA and what we enjoy in both places and all that type of stuff. And we kind of no, you're good. We started coming out here. I think like for the first time was like for a week, and then the next time it was for 2 weeks, and then the third time was like without our parents for like the first, or without our mom for the first time, and then it was
Mom
like
only came here
a
once,
month.
and it was for a week. Then we started coming for like 2 weeks alone, 3 weeks alone, a month, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We just started like loving both places. We started coming here. And then like it got to the point where like we are growing so rapidly because of the insane amount of fans we had, going crazy on like TikToks and all that shit. We were driven to be the best creators we possibly could. Like constantly meeting every day from start to finish about like, oh my God, let's make this happen. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's make this
Yeah.
video. Let's make this video. And then on the days we weren't brainstorming, we were filming that entire day. Like we were so, and we still are super dedicated every single day to our craft and our content, making sure it's the best it can be. I spend every day coming up with, oh my God, what can we do for videos? I still get excited. I still love it. And it's like, I feel like there was a point in time, like by our like fucking 8th trip back and forth, like I low-key was just feeling we were feeling ourselves. Like we were stoked. Like I was like, wow, like we really did this shit. Like it kind of like, it
keep
took
in mind
a
the
while
whole
to
time
set in.
the whole time we're talking about going back and forth from Boston to LA, one trip difference would be like 20K subscribers, and then the next trip difference would be like 120K subscribers.
And then we go
So it's
back
like-
home with like 3 million
Yeah,
subscribers
so it's
at
like
some point,
we're
and people are
leaving
like, holy
we're
fuck.
leaving Boston one time at like 750K, and then coming out here and we hit 1 million, and then we fly home and we're at like 1.2.
Yeah,
like we're genuinely
we grew so fast to the point where like we were doing these month-long trips back and forth. Where like by the next time we were in LA, it was every single time I feel like we hit LA, there was more opportunity for us here because we were growing at such a rapid rate that we were being more noticed by like either people here or brands here or just like work.
Yeah.
That it was like, it honestly was shocking.
It felt like, so when we were back home, it's like people know who we are in our city before the whole YouTube thing. So it's like we go from getting noticed by people in our hometown that we didn't know because they know us on YouTube now. So now we're getting noticed in Boston, and then we fly out here.
Getting noticed back home was like the start of like, wow, like,
yeah,
holy
exactly,
fuck,
like holy shit. And then we come out here, and then we're still getting noticed by like more teenage girls in like a Target or like in a mall. And then it's genuinely like we are flying across the country, and there's people that know us in both sides of it. And it's like, and everywhere in between as well. So it's just like, that's when you're like, okay, we're actually doing something right, and we need to keep doing this.
Yeah, and then like going back home started to feel a little like weird. Not with like our parents or like family shit, but like just everyone else around. Like it was giving like it felt like we were too big to go home at some point, which sounds like that's worded terribly, but everyone would treat us like we were like fucking like these huge celebrities roaming the streets.
What really bothered me, and I feel like still bothers me to this day, is like the amount of like relationships that we had. Like you have to think, this is a city we live in for like the time we're born up until we're 18 years old, right? So like I'm not talking relationships like best friend like Nate. Like I'm talking relationships like
I saw this
Joe
person
Schmo at the corner who like goes by this corner every Friday at 2:30, and like I saw him after school. Like literally anybody. So it's like literally every single person that we had any sort of relationship, whether it's like my fucking 45th cousin, like mom's
dentist,
like dentist's sister's brother who like lives near the park we used to play at. Like literally everyone going from like I knew of you and we were cool. And that's fine, right? And that's awesome. But going from being like, I know these boys and like they're awesome, like they're Mary Lou's kids, like I love them, versus we'd come back and they'd be texting my mom like, oh, we should have like a family dinner and
My
with
mom
your
having
boys.
my
because
mom
it's
having
like,
friends that she hasn't spoke to since they graduated high school together.
yeah,
like reaching out. It's
reaching out.
okay.
And it's like, and it honestly just like going back home and like the amount of people that like genuinely would say like, oh, I care for you and like I'm here for you, and then not do anything about it, and then like a month later be asking for a favor, like reaching back out. It was just a really
like, hey,
weird
bro, how you
vibe of like,
been? It's like a friend from high school from like fucking freshman year I met once. So like, hey bro, how you been? I'm like, oh, I'm great, man, appreciate it. And they're like, oh, can you do me a favor? Like, and then it's like, wow,
yeah,
like,
my
bro,
third
like,
cousin's sister's like a big fan, and it's just like I never really felt like anyone was reaching out because they wanted to know how my life was going here or what I was up to now. It's like I genuinely just felt like
used
a
kinda.
tool to like be like kind
to
of like
benefit
just like
people back home.
yeah, like I felt like I could just like I was just being used to like oh, either like say my name because they used to know who I was, or like
And then it's also weird when it's someone you didn't even really get along with, and they're asking
or like
now.
the people
Yeah,
that like bully you.
but I
Yeah,
think
because it's
what's
like, dude,
super-
like you're like you fucking like
You made fun
hazed
of me.
us,
You
you
made fun
fucking
of me.
moron.
Yeah,
like
and
bro,
what I find
think about
really like really weird is just like kind of just like the dynamic of like that's like people will be like, oh, you're changed, and that's why you don't want to like talk to these people anymore, when in reality it's like I still felt like the same exact person. So it's like I felt like Nick Sturniolo, who like graduated high school and I wanted to do like photography and graphic design. Like I just had these like minor goals and aspirations, and then like people to kind of like,
I agree.
well, it's like I'm not even saying anything and you're saying I agree. Like I
agree
didn't
with
even
that.
finish my sentence. I was trying to get there and you're saying I agree, and then you said like
Oh,
we're
here
getting
he
off
goes.
topic and I forget what I was even saying.
It's
So
okay.
it's like
no,
take your
just
time.
back home started being weird, so we kind of liked being here
I
more.
remember what I was gonna say.
But then we started
Oh,
going
well,
back,
well.
and then I love both places equally still to this day, and I appreciate both. But now it's just like we found our balance. I feel
yeah,
like
I
I
agree.
just what I was trying to say is like I just genuinely felt like I didn't feel like I was bigger than these people. I felt like they were acting like I was, so it made it difficult to like translate that relationship, because it's like you're putting me on a pedestal I don't want to be on.
Yeah.
It's above you. It's like I want to be
yeah, we just want to
Cool.
be kumbaya with everybody.
yeah, that's what I was
Yes,
trying to say,
yes.
and I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, but then like that sums up like that part of our journey. Like that was the most recent, I feel like back and forth, like loving both, And I to this day, I love both places deep down in my soul. I love everyone there. I love everyone here, and I appreciate everything. But moving forward, let's start talking a little bit more like our first LA experiences, like meeting people. Like
I was gonna say talking about like being here finally, like alone.
like it felt weird. Like me, Matt, and Nick had our own place now. We fucking like since August, I think. I don't know, but like we have our own place. Us three live alone together. Weird as shit.
Very
like
weird.
we've dreamed
Like,
of this
I have to
since
do
we were
like this kid's dirty underwear.
Like bro,
That's what I mean, and like yours too. Like I have to do laundry
like
and shit.
it's just like we have totally like yes, we've changed as like people, but
This is a whole other topic.
yes, but I'm talking about like not changing like treating people different. I'm talking about changing from like being a kid and working at a grocery store and still in high school to currently now sleeping in my own fucking house that I own and like having to like just like fucking be an adult. Like I go to meetings in the morning and use big words. Like who the fuck would have ever thought? Like I use
And it's like,
actual
I think-
big terms
and
now,
I think
and it's
that's, like,
crazy.
even like buying groceries, and, like making your bed, and like I have like a bathroom that no one's gonna put toilet paper in if I don't. The shit like that is crazy. Like it's like growing up and like kind of living on your own is just like such a wild thing where it's like all these things you think of like that, and that's what makes me appreciate my mom so much and like my dad so much is like your entire life you're going to take a shit and you're wiping your ass, right? But it's like who's gonna buy the toilet paper and put it in your bathroom if your fucking parents don't? So it's like finally living with Matt and
And
Chris.
that's like one thing.
One thing. I do the
One
dishes.
thing,
I do the
bro.
dishes. Matt does the laundry. Chris takes out the trash. I did air quotes again if you're just listening because he doesn't really do that. But it's just like adapting.
We have a
to-
dishwasher, by the way. Nick puts the dishes in a dishwasher. He doesn't do the dishes. He moves them.
It's also
We have
like
a
I have
trash
to,
bin, by the
I have
way.
to
You
do
don't
the, collect everything and do it. Like
I
I
do.
do the laundry and
all
Nick
of
leaves
Nick's-
dirty
okay,
clothes
no,
all over
no,
his
I'm
room.
actually talking about this, but like the whole trash part about like the house is like Nick will order the most ridiculous amount
let
of
us
packages
know when you're
ever.
done.
Okay,
Just,
I
like, be
will.
done.
I will let you know. I'm not done yet. Nick will order the most ridiculous amount of packages to our home, like probably every day. Matt, would you say?
okay. So like when was the last time I got a package?
Today probably.
Wrong.
Okay,
Yesterday.
you ready, Nick?
Wrong.
Ready?
Okay,
We
sure.
go to Boston.
What do you mean? Okay, sure.
Nick,
I'm asking.
Nick, we go to Boston for 2 weeks and then fly back here, and you have 17 at the doorstep.
And a lot of the time it's shit for our home.
But
because
anyway,
I act like your guys' mom.
anyway, Nick will buy a ridiculous amount of packages to the house, and then I have to like break down all these boxes.
That's
and
just
then,
because I'm scared of knives.
okay, I don't care about that. But listen to me. The reason I don't take down the trash very frequently and I wait for it to accumulate is because if I took the trash out every time it reached the brim, I would literally have to stand next to the trash and just wait for someone to throw away something.
Nick's also
like one
okay.
no, listen. One lunch order from Chick-fil-A and everyone's empty trash. Maybe like someone getting a package and then like a drink from the fridge and then like a couple bags of chips and the trash
I'm
is
gonna
full.
defend you here.
There's like three
I'm gonna
things
defend
that
Chris
I have
here,
to
and I'm
go.
gonna
Guys,
say,
like
hold on, Nick,
overall,
hold on.
Genuinely, like overall, before you keep going, I don't give a fuck. So you're talking to yourselves.
Yeah,
Cool.
okay,
Me and Matt
that's
are actually
fine.
talking.
Genuinely,
I
actually
hold on,
just
Nick.
fucking said
Hold on,
that.
Nick.
Cool, by the way.
Okay, I'm about to defend you here. Nick is
Kid, you don't have to
probably
state your like stance before
He
going
is.
into
Okay,
it. Just
I'll
use
wait.
your words.
I'll wait.
I know you will. Go.
Okay, thank you. So Nick is the absolute
I know
worst.
you will.
Nick's the absolute worst with, okay, I have to do all the laundry. I go to his room, I get all of his dirty clothes, or what I think is all of his dirty clothes, go downstairs, put it in the washing machine.
Does anyone
Hit
care?
start. Nick, hold on. I hit start, I get all of Chris's, and then I go into Chris's room. He's got nothing. All of his shit was in his dirty laundry bin. I go back up to Nick's room. There's dirty socks here. There's pants there. There's this shirt there. It's like, bro, if I'm gonna do your laundry, at least give me the point of putting it from your fucking floor into the dirty hamper.
All right,
so I
let's-
don't
yeah,
have to,
way
let's move
too
on.
long.
You know?
Way too long.
And he does
Got
the same
it.
thing with trash, is what I was
Thanks,
doing.
Okay,
Matt.
ready?
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Clap
you.
if you gave a fuck.
Okay, that's crazy.
Thank you. What
Thank
did you
you.
expect to
Crazy.
happen? Who's gonna clap
Silence.
right now?
I have
You can't
nothing
hear
to
the
say.
people that are gonna clap while they listen.
All right.
dummy.
Anyway, let's carry on. But yeah, that we basically the past few months have been discovering what it's like to be alone, and okay, and we're working on like our new projects now, like this podcast, which Nick announced about a year ago.
Yeah.
God,
Like the warehouse. The warehouse is really cool.
America.
I'm really excited
So
about
let's
that.
talk about. Okay, so
How much longer,
we
Nick?
we covered
Matt.
We covered.
Matt, hold on.
What is so like? You're looking at him.
You're
For
just an
those
idiot.
listening, Nick just made an ugly face at Chris when I spoke for some reason. I don't know
Anyway,
why.
I feel like the future, I feel like it has a lot to unfold that we also aren't unprepared for. Preparing for the future can honestly be good and bad, because when you prepare for something, you can never prepare enough for the future because it doesn't exist yet.
Facts.
Holy fuck!
You know what I
You
mean?
never. I'm like scared of what you just
No, I'm
said.
not
That
being-
was so wisdom.
I'm like saying like
That was
He
so
said you
wisdom.
can never prepare
Like-
for the future because the future has not happened yet.
it's like
Which you literally just said the truth, but I was
Hypothetically-
shivering to my
hypothetically-
core.
guess what's gonna happen.
hypothetically, like next Friday there could be a zombie apocalypse. The motherfuckers that have been preparing for years will be ready. Like
That's
I
very
won't
true.
be, because I'm not preparing for stuff like that.
Let's
But it's
talk
like-
about it though.
The thing is, no, that's not. But the
Okay.
thing is like when you prepare for the future, I feel like whatever you're preparing for it to like happen bad or in a different way. Because like when you're preparing, you think something's gonna happen, you think it's gonna happen, it won't or it will, and you'll regret that it did. Like I talked to my
Wow,
like
hold on.
because like if you set your brain to like a certain thing, oh, it's gonna go great, this is gonna happen. Like I'm not saying don't have drive and motivation to complete something. I'm saying never put full faith in something and always be ready to learn for your mistakes. And I'm only talking as like a human who's just done this for the past year of my life. I have put my goals first. I have attempted everything to do everything to the best of my ability. But I have been also ready for the worst things to happen, and maybe like something bad or like the downfall. Like I'm ready.
I
Go ahead.
think what you're saying here, and I'm saying this as like a rewording, just because I'm thinking
Just
it
say
in a
it.
different way to understand it differently.
Yeah.
I hate when you pressure me to say shit.
Go.
Anyway,
As
like
if
the
it
way
happens every day.
the way that I would say it is like, I'm gonna
Just
I'm
say
gonna
it,
get
Matt.
up and punch this kid.
Should
I
say
think-
it.
I'm literally forgetting what I'm saying. 'cause
Matt.
I'm just so focused on how
Go.
annoying he
Just
is.
go.
It's like you can plan all the shit that you want to do for the future, but at the end of the day, you need to know that like not everything you plan is going to be guaranteed. So always
Dude,
have a backup.
It's just like how my mom says it. One of the realest shit Mary Lou ever spits, bro. She said, if people plan, God laughs. And I actually, my mom said that a little bit ago after I was actually trying to plan something out. And she said, you know what they say, Chris? Like, if people plan, God laughs. I was like, you know what, Mom? Like, that's the realest shit you ever told me. Because, like, I actually think of that almost every day now, ever since Mom
Yeah.
said that. And I'm going to actually call her after this and I'm going to tell her. I'm going to say, Mom, people plan and God laughs. Like, just a beautiful little message, because it's like God isn't laughing at you planning. He's laughing that you think you can control the future. You can't. You have to just let it happen.
Yeah.
But also, I was thinking, like, as a creative, like, our job is, like, to come up with ideas sometimes. So it's like we're coming up with car video ideas constantly.
Oh, yeah, we're always
And I
planning.
just think of, like, no, I'm not talking always planning. I'm saying, like, as a creative, it's super important, obviously, to plan and have structure. But I saw, and Matt's going to yell at me because I've been talking about it for, like, multiple weeks because I've been, like, binge watching the entire
RuPaul's
show.
Drag Race.
But I saw on RuPaul's Drag Race, one of the people, like, they had an outfit and then they had to scrap their whole idea and change it. And they had said, like, as a creative person and someone who does a creative thing as their livelihood, they were explaining, like, I never allow myself to get genuinely attached to one of my projects or ideas, because for moments like this where I have to fully, like, adapt and change what's happening, I am okay with that. Because I feel like one of the things I set myself up with all the time is, like, I'll come up with a car video idea that I think is so fucking good. I'll be like, oh, this is gonna be a viral clip, people are gonna love it, and I'm gonna love watching it back when people are, like, posting the clips from it. And then we'll go to film, and not even 5 minutes in, I literally will be like, I regret every decision I've ever made, and
Yeah.
we need to go home.
I feel
Yeah.
like moral of the
And
story
also,
is
I just want to say that I don't hate RuPaul's Drag Race. It's just when I live with Nick and Chris and I hear RuPaul's name more than theirs, it gets a little annoying.
No,
But anyway,
RuPaul,
go ahead.
like, his, like,
Okay,
if you
Nick.
don't know who RuPaul is, Google RuPaul's laugh and just, like, look at him laugh at a joke, and, like, it just warms my heart. It's, like,
Okay.
the funniest
Anyway,
fucking thing ever.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I had a lot of fun filming this episode.
Me as well.
You know, I feel like the moral of the story is just like we wanted to share our journey to show the ups and downs of shit, how things can go not in your favor and you can still succeed, and like just never, if you have a dream, just chase it, do whatever you want, be safe, be careful. I always say that, like, if you're gonna do whatever you want and have hope in yourself, be safe and be careful, but just do it anyway.
What would you say your life is like this week off camera?
My life is awesome.
Okay,
I'm
can I say
grateful.
something?
What?
I think we should, when we answer that question within ourselves, it shouldn't be this week in like present tense. It should be like in the story we told.
Oh, I love that.
Based off of what we talked about, what's one word off camera to describe your life?
Like,
then?
for example, my answer about today's episode would be like, there's always going to be ups, there's always going to be downs, but it's how you're going to persevere and work through it and be the best person that you can be and how you're going to get there. And I feel like that sums up your guys' answer as well.
I agree. And see, if I was because like
I like that.
you know, because
I love
week,
that.
Because this week, I've been like happy. I've been chilling. I've been doing my thing.
But what
you know?
got you to that journey?
But it's like if I were to say 1 week, what off the camera, or what's one phrase or one word to describe your week?
It's
this
like that
week,
story is what they want to know.
Right now,
you
I'd
know?
say pretty good. But in the main thing of this whole podcast, what we just talked about, my one word, if we were talking about the subject we talked about in that video, would be grind. Like the grind.
I
and
love
like
it.
the motivation
I like
to
that
get
a
there.
lot. What about yours, Nick?
I'd say togetherness. Because
Awesome.
none of this would have been possible at all if any of us gave up on our dream or each other.
Amen,
Facts.
man. All right. Well, that was a
Well,
beautiful
thank you
episode.
for tuning in to what our life is like off camera this week. We're excited to see you next week on Cut the Camera Podcast. It is Nick, Chris, and Matt Sturniolo. We are signing off of episode
love you
2.
guys
We
so
will see
much,
you guys
man.
soon.
Love you.
Peace and love.
Peace out.
Peace. Bye, campers.